Chip and Joanna Gaines have come a long way since Fixer Upper, but these two have way more going on than just overseeing their home improvement empire. During the summer of 2024, Joanna decided to step away from the Magnolia Network and her other businesses. Her absence was temporary and was ultimately intended to strengthen her connection with the business empire she shared with Chip. The following year, she appeared on the Business at Home podcast, where she explained why it was important for her to put some distance between herself and all things Magnolia. Something she'd never done during the 20 or so years since first beginning the business, she explained. That time away gave us clarity for what's next and reinforced that sometimes it's important to step away for a second so you can understand what you're holding and also understand what do I need to let go of. In May 2023, Chip and Joanna Gaines received a rare invitation, beckoned to the White House by President Joe Biden to be guests at a state dinner held for the President of South Korea. Joanna commemorated the moment on Instagram, where she shared some photos of herself and her husband dressed up in formal wear at the White House. She referenced her heritage in the caption, writing, "What an honor it was to be a part of tonight's state dinner to celebrate the 70-year alliance between the United States of America and my mother's home country of South Korea." When Joanna subsequently appeared on Today, she reflected on what an emotional moment that was for both her and her mom.
When my mother found out that we were going, she cried immediately. She was like, I would have never thought that, my daughter would meet the Korean president.
As she explained, that state dinner came not long after she and Chip visited the South Korean capital of Seoul, where she connected with family members on her mom's side whom she'd never met before.
It was really just this full circle moment of understanding where my mother was from.
While launching their branded Magnolia Network would seem to be the pinnacle of success for Chip and Joanna, it wasn't enough for them. In late 2024, Minor Professional Hockey League ECHL announced that the couple had joined former football star Tim Tebow and his wife Demi in the ownership group behind the Tahoe Night Monsters. Tebow said in the announcement, "We are excited to have Chip and Joe join our ownership group. It is obvious they share our passion for giving back to the community and have a love of sports." For the Gaines, getting involved with a minor league sports team was another way in which they could contribute to a community. Chip said in a statement, "As parents and lifelong sports fans, we've always believed in the magic of sports to connect people." Fans of Chip and Joanna are well aware that the couple are parents to 5 children. While that would be more than enough kids for most people, the couple were unsure whether or not they wanted to expand their family even further by having a 6th. So, are they having another baby? As early as 2018, they discussed the possibility of a 6th kid in interviews. Speaking with People that year, Chip insisted that they weren't done making babies just yet, telling the publication that their son Crew needed a sister. He said in the interview, "I think we have to have another one because I'm particular about the only child thing. Crew needs a sister to manage this whole thing out. Don't be surprised if number 6 is in the cards." In that same interview, Joanna proved to be a bit more circumspect. She said, "When I first got pregnant, I kept telling everyone at the office, guys, I am my best self when I'm pregnant. And then, for whatever reason, I was limping into work and I couldn't breathe." She added that having babies in one's 20s isn't the same as doing it a decade plus later. Still, she told Entertainment Tonight that she's dreading the moment her last child will leave the nest. As of July 2025, though, there was still no sign of a 6th Gaines baby. In June 2025, Chip and Joanna celebrated doing something that the two hadn't done in a quarter century: hit the gym together. In an Instagram post, Joanna revealed that she and her husband had enlisted the services of trainer to the stars Don Saladino. Joanna wrote in the caption, "Last year, Don Saladino did the impossible and got Chip and me in a gym together for the first time in 25 years. We have honestly loved the workout so much." In May 2025, Chip and Joanna marked a milestone in their lives together when they celebrated their 22nd wedding anniversary. In an Instagram post, Joanna revealed that to honor the milestone, they decided to try something new. She wrote in the caption, "We've loved turning our date nights into dance nights. We are going to need quite a few more lessons, but this is so much fun." Judging by that video, Chip's footwork had progressed considerably in the years since he showed off some wild moves in a 2018 episode of Fixer Upper. In April 2025, Variety reported that Joanna was set to go without Chip for a new show for the couple's Magnolia Network. In each episode of that new show titled Mini Renny, Joanna tackled mini renovation projects, demonstrating how making just a few intentional changes can meaningfully transform a small space. She told the outlet, "What I love about Mini Renny is the freedom to go all in on just 1 or 2 smaller spaces." She explained in an interview with TV Insider that Mini Renny marked a return to her early days, predating when she and Chip began flipping homes. Helping people make their spaces feel special and personal has always been at the heart of what I love, long before Fixer Upper. As Chip and Joanna continued to build their Magnolia network, new shows continued to be produced. In early 2025, they announced they were executive producers of a new reality show that sent participants nearly 150 years into the past. In Back to the Frontier, 3 typical American families relinquish all their modern conveniences and live as homesteaders from the 1880s, eschewing the comforts of modern life to immerse themselves in frontier living and learn the skills needed to survive a harsh winter.
Welcome to your frontier.
Oh my gosh! This is home!
In a statement they issued to people ahead of the show's July 2025 debut, the couple revealed that the idea for Back to the Frontier had been percolating with them for some time. "We've always been drawn to the back-to-basics way of life, and loved the idea of giving families a chance to go back in time to experience life as 1880s homesteaders, without all the distractions and technology of the 21st century. Ultimately, the couple added, the hardship they encountered wound up pulling those families together in a profound way that tightened their familial bonds.
What started as a small way for Joanna Gaines to share her love of design with the world turned into a massive media frenzy. Her world completely changed when a producer from HGTV just happened to stumble across her small blog in 2012. She later admitted to Today, "I don't think we ever knew it was going to be this national thing." By the time fans had followed Fixer Upper into Season 3, it was the #1 show on cable television. By Season 4, it was taking up 10% of HGTV's airtime. And by the time their television series came to an end after 5 seasons, it had received 2 Emmy nominations. In 2018, after becoming the most popular duo in HGTV history, Joanna and Chip Gaines left HGTV for a special reason, with Joanna telling people, "We really want to focus on this break and take a step back to let this all soak in."
And I'm wanting it to look
A little more age.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see you there.
Understandably, fans were frazzled that Fixer Upper was ending, but it was just the beginning of what the Gaines were building. As if they weren't busy enough, Chip and Joanna decided to continue to tackle television while also working a construction business and chasing after 4 kids. However, when the couple signed on for Fixer Upper, their dance card wasn't full yet. Alongside their growing businesses came a growing family as well. In 2018, the Gaines welcomed their 5th child, Crew, and decided to take a break from TV. Watching their kids grow up while working on Fixer Upper had already been enough of a whirlwind for the overwhelmed family. Those years just flew by because there was so much happening in the moment. I feel like I can really take this one in and relish these moments. However, the Gaines family decided to take on television once again in 2021, and they show no signs of slowing down in all aspects of their life. So, are Chip and Joanna Gaines having another baby? She hinted at the possibility in 2019 by telling Today, "I think Chip just loves a full plate." Before they were famous, few people knew that the couple was having trouble financially. Money was tight when it came to making their mortgage and feeding their family of 6. Chip even admitted to Success magazine, "There was a good 10-year run to where Joe and I were literally consistently worried about things that most people would take for granted. It was thanks to the successful show that the couple was able to make a real change, building the foundation for their futures." However, this Hollywood-type career took the pair even further than that. So just how much are Chip and Joanna Gaines really worth? The two now have a net worth of $20 million. However, becoming multimillionaires was never the Gaines' end goal. It was much simpler than that. "I was wanting to support my family. I wanted to live, the American dream." A year before Fixer Upper premiered, Chip and Joanna Gaines fell in love with a farmhouse outside of Waco, Texas. Its 40 rolling acres seemed like the perfect place to raise their family and dozens of farm animals. However, much like all the properties the pair work on, it required a bit of labor. Throughout Season 1 of Fixer Upper, Chip and Joanna released a series of YouTube videos showing fans how they were renovating their home. As their fame came to fruition, so did their own Fixer Upper. Joanna updated their fans on the house via her blog, posting, "Just like all of us, our homes have a journey of their own." While the Gaines family have a busy life running their businesses and appearing on our television screens, Chip and Joanna still claim to be homebodies at heart, with Chip writing on their blog, "You can drag us out and make us travel and even put us up in some fancy place way nicer than where we live, but the reality remains the same. We want to go back home." Needless to say, fans quickly fell in love with Fixer Upper. So to share their in-demand designs, Chip and Joanna Gaines launched their Texas-based retail businesses, Magnolia Market at the Silos. But countless viewers all over the country wanted to bring the heart of Waco into their own homes too. In 2017, the Gaines family finally made a deal with Target and created a collection called Hearth and Hand to share with the world. Joanna sounded excited about the development in her press release about the deal. When guests visit our shops at the Silos in Waco, Texas, they get to experience the true essence of what Magnolia is. We know that not everyone can come visit, so we are excited to bring some of our home to yours. That was a welcome change for eager fans. To preserve the Magnolia image in the Hearth and Hand collection, Joanna made sure that the national collection shared a similarity to their small store in Waco. Chip provided a glimpse of what customers could expect to see via their blog. It's like a little shop inside of Target. Joe keeps calling the look modern farmhouse, whatever that means. The Gaines didn't have to leave the small world of Waco, Texas in order to get famous. Rather, the fame came to them instead. This fixer-upper couple now has fans all across the country, and the entire world now knows them by name. In fact, in 2017, the pair's social media presence earned them a spot on the Hollywood Reporter's list of top TV personalities. With over 12 million followers on Instagram alone, Joanna was named the #1 personality that people love to follow across all platforms. It turns out that she had more fans posting to her social media pages than Jimmy Fallon and even Oprah Winfrey. Joanna didn't sound like the fame has gone to her head, admitting to Today that they still get starstruck. We get tweets from celebrities. It's very surreal. So, as of now, these two homebodies turned household names are hopeful they can still lead normal lives outside of the limelight. The urge to live the simple life hasn't changed for them. What makes Fixer Upper so successful isn't just the fact that fans love to watch Chip and Joanna Gaines flip houses. People also love that these two Texans come across as an average family that fans can relate to. In 2016, the Gaines realized there was more to them than renovations, and that publishers were interested. To that end, the couple gave fans an inside look at their lives in their book, The Magnolia Story. Within its pages, Chip and Joanna explain how they began their businesses, what life lessons they've learned, and how they've changed. Not surprisingly, the book quickly became a New York Times bestseller. In a statement, Joanna said, "Getting to tell this story together was like uncovering and reliving half a lifetime's worth of happy memories, failures, and adventures." Chip and Joanna have also published additional tomes to the delight of Fixer Upper fans. That includes the countless cookbooks they've written, as well as a children's book inspired by their own little ones. When Chip and Joanna signed on to star in Fixer Upper, they originally thought no one but locals would tune in. Boy, were they wrong. In fact, the Gaines family can't go anywhere anymore without being recognized. With Chip telling the New York Times, "No matter how many times someone asks me to sign their hat or ask Joe for a picture, it still feels surreal. We don't think of ourselves as famous, even now. Rather, they view themselves simply as a family of fixer-uppers." Even as they've gotten super famous, the Gaines always remember to stay grounded. Joanna explained this in an interview with People.
We're trying to make it to where it's as normal as possible for our kids, that they don't get the magnitude of this.
So while television has treated them well, raising their kids right will always come first. Joanna Gaines had always dreamed of opening her own businesses, something Chip echoed during a chat with Build series. She had this whole book, a notebook full of businesses that she would hypothetically start one day. Impressed by Joanna's ideas, Chip wanted her to make what she wrote down a reality.
I just dreamed about them, and he really encouraged me to step out and make one of those dreams happen.
After television, another industry seemed to be calling out to Chip and Joanna, and after releasing countless cookbooks, it really should be no surprise that the pair wanted to get into the restaurant business. So in 2016, Chip and Joanna Gaines fixed up an abandoned restaurant that the locals had always loved. They turned it into Magnolia Table, and when that was a hit, they also opened a quaint coffee shop called Magnolia Press in 2020. At the end of the day, fixing up a food business wasn't so foreign to Chip and Joanna either. Writing on their blog, "We're especially excited about the custom furniture Joe designed that you'll find throughout the press." Since the first episode of Fixer Upper aired in 2013, Chip and Joanna Gaines have had quite an effect on audiences everywhere. So much so that in 2019, a whole year after they wrapped up their show, they made Time's list of the 100 most influential people. During the awards gala, Chip and Joanna found themselves rubbing shoulders with celebrities. Despite the change from their humble Texas roots, Chip shared what was going through their minds in an interview with Today. It set in really quickly and overwhelmingly. It was like, what are we doing here? Truly, the Gaines never dreamed they'd be where they are today. Their initial plan for Joanna was to eventually take over her family's automotive business. After all, as she explained in the Magnolia story, if I had planned my life, it never would have ended up like this. So maybe it's kind of fun not to plan. Everywhere Chip and Joanna Gaines go, they want it to feel homey. They want others to feel the same too. So bringing people to Waco is what they're most passionate about. With Joanna explaining on their blog, what it really comes down to is our desire to create a place where people feel welcomed. Fans can spend the night in homes that were featured on Fixer Upper, but in 2019, Chip was dreaming bigger. He decided to buy a boutique hotel close to their downtown shops and naturally fix it up. But at nearly 53,000 square feet, it was a much larger project than the pair was used to, with Joanna initially hesitant and summing up her thoughts during a chat with Today, let's just stick with houses. But after hearing Chip's plans for the place and getting over the fact that it may or may not be haunted, she began to share his vision. They aren't done either, as later that year, Chip and Joanna Gaines purchased a historic castle in Waco as their next fixer-upper. 2 years after Fixer Upper ended, Chip and Joanna Gaines let fans know that they were bringing it back in 2021. Finally.
What did you do, Chip?
I signed us up for another season of Fixer Upper.
Are you serious?
Yes, I answered the office phone like he told me never to do.
However, it turns out that these two Texans have more to share than just their love of fixer-uppers. To that end, in 2019, the Gaines announced that they're launching their own network on television, appropriately called Magnolia Network. Set to replace the DIY network, the Gaines family are creating their own lineup of original content, from cooking to crafting. Truly, fans have become obsessed with Chip and Joanna, something that Magnolia Network President Allison Page is keenly aware of, telling Variety. It was their authenticity, relatability, family focus, and zest for life that made America fall in love with them. During Joanna Gaines' time on Fixer Upper, she found herself falling in love with cooking. But with dozens of growing businesses and her 5 kids to contend with, how could she possibly find time to cook? By being paid to do it on TV. So after authoring cookbooks and even whipping up some at-home cooking videos on YouTube,
and once it sits, it hardens, and I'm gonna crumble it on top of the salad, and that is why my kids eat the salad. We don't actually eat the salad.
Joanna will host her very own cooking show on Magnolia Network, announcing on her blog, I want to share recipes with you that I love, but even more than sharing recipes, I hope it reminds you of what a gift it is to spend time in the kitchen, being creative, and making good food for people you love. To tease her new television show, Joanna starred in a special on the Food Network. 3 million viewers tuned into In the Kitchen with Joanna Gaines to see her cook. Waco, Texas wasn't necessarily a tourist destination before Chip and Joanna Gaines featured the town on television. But ever since Fixer Upper became a massive hit, more people make the pilgrimage to Magnolia Market than the Alamo. Over 30,000 visitors from all over the world stop by the shops each week, according to the Waco Tribune-Herald.
All the way from Bakersfield, California,
Albany, Oregon, New Orleans, Louisiana,
Seattle, Washington.
Joanna admitted on her blog, this entire business idea was born completely out of a dream I didn't know could ever come to life. While Fixer Upper may have started out as a show about flipping houses, for the Gaines, it's so much more than that. It's special footage of their family, town, and way of life. In an interview with Today, Chip said, it makes sense that we like it. It makes sense that my grandmother likes it. But why does everybody else like it? While their mass appeal is something that Chip and Joanna still can't wrap their minds around, they have revitalized Waco and given it a new energy. But they remain humble, with Chip saying, we just feel extremely thankful.